Hello, welcome back to the Marketing Kitchen. This is Marketing Kitchen TV, and I'm your host, Ron Vining. Today, we're going to do something different from prior videos, but it'll be something that'll be happening more frequently in the coming months, and that is Q&A. And what I'll be doing throughout the year, there will be various points where we'll set up not so much, perhaps they'll be live in the future, but right now we'll do it this way. And that will be that on the Marketing Kitchen TV Twitter account, if you ask a question, I will collate those questions and then I will answer them in upcoming videos. And these questions are actually, they've been simmering on the oven over here. So they've been simmering for a little while. And I will be cooking them or serving them up now. And this actually is the similar to the YouTube channel, and it needs to be redesigned. But this is currently the Marketing Kitchen TV Twitter account. So it's at MKT Kitchen TV, and or you can just go twitter.com/MKT Kitchen TV, and you can find us that way, and you can ask a question. And if you just say that you're asking a question, so for example here I have retweeted some of the questions that are there. Since this is the first time I'm showing this, and because we'll be changing this in the future, actually that design that you see that is the wallpaper for the Twitter feed is actually the design of the kitchen. And in the future I'll dig up an old video that I recorded as well as old photographs. Actually, some of them are at the Marketing Kitchen Google Plus channel, but I'll be putting together a video and then I'll share them on the channel. But this, in my entire condo, and certainly this kitchen, didn't look this way at the time that I bought the home, and I had it completely gutted out. And since I'm a professional speaker and I design a lot of slide decks, what I did was I took to PowerPoint and I designed the Marketing Kitchen. And so this was one of the preliminary designs. Not everything ended up exactly in the same spot, but the original design and the final product are quite similar to each other. Okay, all right, let's get to the first question today. And this one asks the question, what is social media as a career like? Okay, question here, what is social media as a career like? And for those of you that are wondering, these questions were given to me by my students. So one of the many hats that I wear, in addition to being a social marketer, is I'm also a marketing professor. So I'm an adjunct professor at the University of Massachusetts in Boston. And you're probably saying, I thought I saw that he lived in Singapore. Well, I do live in Singapore. However, I teach fully online. And I've been teaching fully online for 10 years now. But prior to that, going all the way back to 1994, I was actually in a physical classroom. And I began teaching at the university level at Suffolk University, which is also in Boston. And I taught at Suffolk University from 1994 to I believe it was 2006. And then I joined UMass Boston in 2007, where I taught there 2007, 2008 in the classroom. And then I moved to Singapore in the start of 2009. And I've been teaching fully online courses since 2009. So you probably might ask, what courses do you teach? Well, I've taught a lot over the span of my teaching career. Anything from rhetorical communication, business communication, marketing, principles of marketing, internet marketing, digital marketing, community relations, inside political campaigns, business ethics, ethical responsibility, public relations. Anyway, I've taught a bunch of courses. But currently, though, this semester coming up, I'm teaching internet marketing, and I'm also, or actually that's the graduate title of it, is Internet Marketing. This semester, I usually teach MBA students. However, this semester I will be teaching an undergraduate web page marketing course, and then I'll also be teaching a brand management course for MBA. So brand management and web page marketing are the two for this semester. So to get a channel kick-started, if I can't get organic interaction, then I can certainly ask my students to give me questions that I will then be able to answer on the channel. So that's where this question is, and I'm actually going to cut the videos up. So if you're watching this one first, it'll just be one question per video. This should be the longest one because I'm going through this whole introduction here, which I will not do on the others. And what am I trying to say? Where am I at? Oh yeah, so these questions actually came at the end of last semester from my MBA students, so I did web page marketing and internet marketing last semester. And so that's where these questions came from. All right, anyway, back to that. Sorry, tangents. It's so easy to get me on one. All right, the question that I'm going to take on for this video here says it here, and I'll get more sophisticated and be able to do split screen at some point, so I'll have the Twitter questions on the other. I don't think I'm ever going to set up a Patreon, but I guess never say never. My goal isn't to monetize. My goal is actually just to share and just grow the channel. But anyway, we'll see how that goes. I guess can't live off of just making videos, right? But for now, the question here is, what is social media as a career like? Well, I can only partially answer that question because that's not the only thing that I do, as I had just indicated. But a career in social media, what would that be like? And whether that's the entire hat that you're wearing or whether you're wearing multiple hats. Well, I would say that for myself anyway, and then also too, so in addition to teaching online, so I teach 2 fully online courses each semester. That includes spring, fall, and then I usually have 1 course in the summer, or maybe I do 2 summer sessions. But anyway, so typically though, as many as 6 courses a year. So that's obviously not my full-time job. My full-time job is I'm an entrepreneur, and I have created and sold, or created and folded up a number of businesses over the span of my career. And when I haven't been doing that, I've actually been working for companies, or I've been working in government, or I worked in the political world. So I've as a campaign manager, and then I was also actually a candidate, and I was an elected official for a short time as well too. So anyway, I've had some fun doing different things. All of them really had to do with marketing. And since the dawn of the internet, so going way back to, let's simplify it anyway, going back to about 1996, ever since then, I have been applying digital or Omni-Channel to everything that I used to do in the traditional marketing space or world. All right, so we're getting to the question, what is a career in social media like? Well, you can go 3 different routes. You can work for an agency, and so going under like a typical public relations type agency or advertising agency type of structure. There are social media agencies, or a lot of the PR and advertising, Marcom, agencies have had to adapt and have switched to offering these type of sort of social media services, right? So you could go into an agency and work in that model. I haven't familiarized myself with the hierarchy in that, but to get started, right, you would probably start off as a sort of a social media a coordinator or assistant or account executive, where you would be working on multiple brands at once. Then as you got more specialized, you would then work for fewer brands, but it would become more intensive. A brand, when I say brand, a brand could be a corporation, brand could be an individual, brand could be even just a specific product or a particular launch campaign, right? So whatever the client has asked for of that particular agency. And then, you would work your way up the ladder to one point in time. What's interesting is you might end up the career in those in agencies. Typically, they sort of pyramid, and then the pyramid flips upside down. So at first, you start doing a little bit on a lot of things, and then you get more specialized, and then as you go up, and then you begin managing the team, and then that's when the pyramid flips over. So then now you are now working on a broad portfolio again, but you have individuals who are working underneath you that you're guiding and directing that's there. So there's the agency route. Another route, you could certainly go corporate, and a number of firms are hiring, and the roles, again, it depends upon the company, but roles could be probably the highest that in the space. Obviously, there's the CMO, but companies have begun to refine that a bit more. They've even been changing that title. And actually, I will post in the link here. There's several blogs that I've written about sort of the wearing digital hats and how that fits in to the organization. But there's certainly the traditional sort of IT space, and then there was the marketing space, but they've really blended together. And so anyway, that's a tangent from social. But so a chief marketing officer would be perhaps the highest that you could go in the corporate world, and then working your way down from that. That CMO role could be anything from a chief customer experience officer. That role could be chief content officer, chief creative content officer. There's a number of titles that are out there that different companies have been playing with to try to better suit what the job is. But for you getting potentially into social media, you could you just start off as again social media manager, social media coordinator. This could be working for the entire company. Maybe it's a small firm, so maybe it's a law firm that's looking to boost their presence there. Maybe it's a political campaign. The sky is the limit of who could potentially hire you. It could be to go work for Disney. So it could be anywhere in that particular spectrum. And in that particular type of role would be a lot more structured than, say, the agency would be, because there would be a very clear focus. And it really depends on who your boss is and what the objectives are that has been set as to where and what it is that you would actually be doing. So, and then let me say the third, and before we get into the specifics that are there. And the third could potentially be just freelancing and doing it on your own. And that's what a lot of people are doing, right? A lot of people are just taking to YouTube, taking to Instagram, taking to Twitter. They're making their own space. They're becoming an influencer potentially. But I think that's a little bit different than where this question is going. But maybe it's not. So maybe this is where you are actually creating your own brand, and by having your own brand, then you're representing others, right? So there's the agency, there's corporate, and then there's freelance. But then freelance could also, you become an influencer, and then that sort of disrupts that whole model that's there, right? All right, what are some of the things that are involved in a social media career? Well, I got to tell you that it involves a lot of work. And so when people say that social media is free, I'm sorry, it's not free, because time is money. And for myself, when I got started on a content marketing initiative for my own brands, so I currently have 4 companies that I'm running now. One is called Learnami. That is building, it's going to be a learning social network. So I'm still in the stages of building the architecture. The other is called Automated Influx, and that company is an automation AI-based content aggregator and sort of a scheduling tool that hopefully will remove part of what I'm going to say is what bogs me down a lot. And then the other two companies, one is called Brand Influx, and that is my branding agency. And so you could put social media in that, of course, too, but a lot of that is more strategic messaging, advising the company on all aspects. So that would be what should your logo be? So if you're a new company, well, going from logo to uniforms to colors to message, what channels you should be on, what products you should be offering, what markets you should be targeting, what would be your price point, all of the things that are necessary to take you from, wow, I want to start a business, to then actually having a business, right? So that would be for a smaller company. For larger companies, I help them redefine what it is that they do. And so I could be redefining their mission statement, updating their logo, helping them decide which markets they should be targeting, what consumer they should be targeting, what products, tweaking those products, what features, specs, colors, pricing, going into and redesigning the store or whatever. So anyway, a lot to do with that. And of course, there's a whole social component to that, because everything that I just mentioned there needs to be told to the consumer on social media. And there is where a lot of social media work comes, and that is in the form of content marketing and storytelling. And then let me just mention the last company, and that's called iPlenaria. So a plenary is a forum where people get together for a conference or a speech or for learning. So anyway, I came up with the name iPlenaria, and iPlenaria is actually the training arm of my 4 businesses, where what I'm talking about right now, I would be delivering more structured with a whole host of slides. And that's corporate training that I do, and anywhere from entry level to C-level boardroom. So I match the content and to suit the audience, right? And so in the approach. So in these videos, because as you see if you're looking at my channel, some are very laid back. I'm talking about Lego, and anyway, this is just for fun. But when I get to the boardroom, put the suit on, I do what I need to do, so that they walk away understanding who their audience is, what channels they should be on, what messages that they should be using, and then how can they take what I'm talking about and apply it to their business, deploy it throughout their organization to greater success, right? So anyway, that's some of that piece. Getting to the social media. So what does it involve? It involves a lot of time. And so I've been doing, this is how we got on that tangent, I've been doing a content marketing or storytelling program as well too, across all of the social media channels that I'm on. And it's a quite large undertaking, because I'm on all the channels, and it's about understanding it's about understanding your objective, it's about understanding your audience, it's about understanding the channel that you're on. So what content will you create to be able to attract, engage, I say convert, and then retain with loyalty that particular consumer. So what content are you going to put out on social media? And remember, social media is quite crowded. So as going into social media as a career, you need to be a content creator. I call it a content producer. And the reason why I say that is because sometimes I'm not creating original content. I'm taking somebody else's story or somebody else's statistics or somebody else's information about a marketplace, and I'm analyzing it, and then I'm tweaking it and pushing it out. So that's a curator, that's a producer. You can throw whatever term it is that you want on there. So what is involved in social media as a career? Time, a lot of time, a lot of organization, a lot of structure, a lot of creativity, and discipline. And so let me explain. You need to, again, understand, set the objective, or somebody sets the objective, but you need to clearly understand what that objective is. Then what you need to do is you need to understand the audience. You need to understand the message. You need to understand the channel. And then from there, you create the content, or you take content marketing to the next level with storytelling. And storytelling is not easy. So when I'm about to say the storytelling is simply the following, but storytelling, there's nothing easy about it. Storytelling is quite difficult to get it right. Anybody can tell a story, but not everybody can tell a good, compelling story, correct? So one of the things that we do is we take our content and we lay it out in a narrative. We lay it out in a series, like a television series, like Game of Thrones, right? So it's a narrative that has a beginning or an ending. Or think of the Harry Potter series. And then, of course, now we've got Fantastic Beasts, right? Two different stories, but they are linked together because they're in the same universe, just different time periods. And then there are many chapters in that story. So storytelling is taking content and then breaking that up and putting it together in an order or a succession that is compelling, that keeps the audience going for it. All right, that's sort of higher level, not really where we're at about just talking about social media, but that is an important component to understand, because just throwing memes out, and a meme is just taking a picture and maybe putting a quote on it, maybe throwing your logo on there. That's not going into social media as a career. So going into social media as a career means that you need to understand the basics of what make people tick. I actually break down social media into, so take the word social, the first two letters are so, and then so you take media, first two letters are me. So when you look at social media, it's so me. So to be successful in social media is to understand the so me aspect of your customer. And by understanding that, understanding what time of day they're online, understanding what type of content that they like, and the content can be anything, right? The content can be a song, the content can be a picture, it can be a video, it could be an infographic, it could be a quotation. There's so many various different types of media or content that you can put out there as a social media manager. So understanding the content that appeals to your audience is critical. The ability to be creative, to either create it yourself or to be a producer or a curator. Producer means that you would get a team, I guess, and that you would supervise them in the creation of that. A curator is where you just take in a bunch of content, but you're creative enough to sift through it, understand how it would play into your brand story, get a calendar, set it up, and put it out there. It takes discipline to be able to do this. It takes understanding the tone and the voice of a particular company, and making sure that when you're talking to customers, when you're answering their questions online, that you're responding to them in the appropriate way. And that sometimes can be a bit tricky, to be able to speak in the tone, the voice, the feel of a particular brand. So if you're in that type of role, sometimes being in social media is being complimentary when you don't want to be. Sometimes it's a bit customer service. It's about trying to deliver satisfaction. It all depends upon what the brand has asked you, or what your own brand that you've set forward, what is the approach that it is that you're going to take. So for me and for my team members that work for me, and so my right arm, if you will, or actually that's my left arm, isn't it? My right arm, if you will, is my social community manager. And one of the things that she does for me is distribute or disseminate my content across my channels. And because I wear the hat, they're my companies, right? So because I understand the brand, or I think I do anyway. I understand, or I think I do anyway, who my customers are as well too. And I think that I know what the right channels are to be reaching out to those particular channels, to those particular customers. What I do is that we collaborate on the content. So sometimes we create original, unique or differentiated content. Sometimes we curate the content, but we make sure that we tweak it in such a way that it's differentiated, special, or unique to our brand. And then sometimes we'll just reshare content. Yeah, I guess if we're being lazy, we'll just reshare. And so what we do, or what she does anyway, is we collaborate on putting that together. We discuss what our objectives are for a particular campaign or for a particular day or particular week, month, or quarter. And then she leads the team in distributing that content across all of our channels. And she also then monitors those channels. So she actually does the posting, right? So again, so the creation happens. She has the schedule, she understands the objective, and then she does the posting. And then sometimes on some of the channels that are my private ones, but then I want to reshare that content, I take the content that she shared on the other channels and then I disseminate them. Perhaps I might tweak them or personalize them a little bit as well too. And of course, we create one piece of content, let's say, and we do share that across all of our channels, but we tweak it for that particular channel. So an image that we might use on LinkedIn might not be the same image that we'll use on Instagram. And the copy that we use on LinkedIn certainly isn't the same copy that we'd be using on Twitter or Pinterest. One, because of character limit, but then also two, it's about understanding who's on those channels, what they're trying to do or accomplish on them, so making sure that we match that up. So then she distributes that content on those channels that we've chosen, and then she monitors them. So when people write back, when people like, when people comment, or people share, she stays on top of, or she and the team do, they stay on top of what's being said and make sure that everybody receives a response. And again, that depends on your particular brand, whether you do that or not. But for me, it's a pet peeve of mine that when I mention a brand on any social channel and they don't like it back or they don't comment back, well, why did I mention you? So give me feedback. At least, and that feedback can just be giving me a like to let me know that you saw it. And so I make sure that if anybody comments on any of our channels, that we like it, we comment, we share, we retweet, whatever the specific share function is of that particular content, because that's quite key. All right, this video has gotten on much longer than I thought, and I thought this was going to be a simple question. But anyway, what's it like to be in social media as a career? Again, for me anyway, it's long hours, it's being strategic, it's about being creative, and it's about having discipline to understand the areas that I talk about, to make sure that that you're hitting the audience with the right message on the right channel at the right time. And thankfully, there are automation tools like the automated influx algorithm that my developers are working on, as well as other companies that you could hire to do similar things to distribute that content across different channels so that you're not staying up 24 hours a day. But currently, one of the things that we're doing on our media, we're limiting it to about 9 posts, a maximum of 9 posts per day across different time zones. and the content typically, because I'm in the marketing, advertising, marketing, branding, communications, digital, AI, automation space, all of the topics that we're talking about on social, we're doing thought leadership and talking about in that area. So that's just some of the things that we're doing. Video went long, a couple of tangents there. I hope you found some interesting information in what I had to say. Well, thanks again. This is the first of our Q&A series. I'll try to tighten these up in future posts so that they stick to 6 to 15 minutes. Don't run on as long as this one did. But thank you very much for tuning in. Again, I'm Ron Vining. This is my Marketing Kitchen, and this is Marketing Kitchen TV. Thank you very much for joining us. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.